Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Here are a few of the news stories we have coming up for you tonight. A paraeducator in an Ephrata elementary school is being recognized for heroism after helping to save a child suffering a medical emergency. State Insurance Commissioner Mike Kreidler said yesterday he won't run for a 7th term. And in weather, temperatures in the 80s are expected through Thursday and then cooler and wetter by Friday. A corrections deputy at the Chelan County Regional Justice Center in Wenatchee was attacked by 2 inmates inside the jail on Monday. After an investigation and review of surveillance footage, police say 24-year-old Benito E. Licea and 28-year-old Javier Valdez allegedly attacked the corrections deputy, with Licea knocking the deputy to the floor and Valdez joining in, striking the corrections deputy in the head with stabbing motions. The inmates used weapons made from materials inside the jail during the attack, and the corrections deputy suffered puncture wounds and lacerations to his head, neck, arm, and hand. He's been released from Central Washington Hospital, where he was treated for his injuries. Licea and Valdez were both arrested last year as suspects in separate homicides. They remain in custody at the Chelan County Regional Justice Center and were arrested for first-degree attempted aggravated murder, prison riot, and weapons possession by a prisoner. A Peshastin woman was badly injured Sunday night in a 4-vehicle wreck outside Issaquah. Friends say 25-year-old Ida El Sudani was driving home from an airline flight on Interstate 90 when the crash occurred about 7:15 p.m. The Washington State Patrol says a 35-year-old Bellevue man was driving under the influence and struck Al Sudani's vehicle near milepost 20, causing her to collide with a third vehicle and sending both cars across the highway median into the path of westbound traffic. There, Al Sudani's car was struck again and came to rest on the shoulder. She was extricated from her car and taken to Harborview Medical Center for emergency treatment. The causing driver was not injured and was arrested at the scene on suspicion of vehicular assault, DUI, and hit and run. Al Sudani is program coordinator for the Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center and a graduate of Cascade High School in Leavenworth. The crash blocked westbound I-90 for nearly 4 hours. A paraeducator at an Ephrata elementary school is being recognized for heroism after helping to save a child suffering a medical emergency. Lee Erfua Sharp stepped in when the student at Grant Elementary collapsed and became unresponsive on the school playground. Her CPR efforts revived the boy, who was then treated by emergency medical responders and later released from medical care. Principal Shannon Dahl says Fua Sharp's intervention possibly saved the student's life, and he's expected to make a full recovery. For her heroism, Fua Sharp will receive the Ephrata School District's Excellence Award at a school assembly coming up on June 9th. The development of a regional sports complex is one step closer. Senator Brad Hawkins' Senate Bill 5001 will allow communities to form a second public facilities district that authorizes local governments to join together and seek voter approval of regional facilities. Hawkins gave credit to many area officials and organizations who supported the effort, including the cities of Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, Chelan and Douglas counties, and Our Valley, Our Future. He said that a sports complex will serve as a catalyst for development of significant economic activities in the proposed Wenatchee Landing project area. Yesterday, Hawkins joined Governor Jay Inslee for the bill signing.
This Senate Bill 5001, this creates a powerful tool to help build swimming pools in Wenatchee, Olympia, and possibly other communities where new recreational options are sorely needed. This changes the public facilities district law, could give more kids a chance to learn to swim, a skill that lasts a lifetime and is the best way to prevent accidental drowning. Thanks, Senator Hawkins. All right, okay, keep swimming. Hey, Brad, how are you? Good to see you.
When we come back, Senator Maria Cantwell's fight for money dedicated to missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls continues. State Insurance Commissioner Mike Kreidler will not seek another term. And Wenatchee High School's long-running women's vocal ensemble, the HyTones, are Washington State music champions. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. This Friday, May 5th, is the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Children. There are at least 113 unsolved cases with an Indigenous victim in Washington State, that according to the Washington State Attorney General's office. Earlier this morning, Senator Maria Cantwell questioned U.S. Department of Interior Secretary Deb Haaland during a Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources meeting about the proposed federal budget for the department. The proposed budget provides $16.5 million dedicated for missing and murdered units. Cantwell said she wanted to ensure that cold cases don't go unanswered and asked about the possibility of a missing and murdered unit for the state of Washington.
What about a unit in the state of Washington, giving it such a high?
Thank you so much. Yes, and we understand that that area has some of the highest missing rates, and certainly in small communities. You can imagine if a dozen people went missing at one time. We're so happy to work with you on this, and we'll take a look at what we have in the Pacific Northwest, but certainly you raise an important issue, and we're more than happy to continue to work with you.
Do you think we need more resources?
Oh, absolutely. As I mentioned, we have 32 of 63 positions now filled. They are planning to hire a supervisory agent in Washington State soon to add to the agent already on the ground. There's one agent there in the MMU. Sure, we could use more.
Thank you. I think that's the answer I was looking for, because clearly we don't have enough resources here. We're a target. You know, we know that there is a lot of trafficking of women. We know that I-5 and vast amounts of land can lead to lots of different issues. So we need more resources. We need everybody working together to try to tackle this issue. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The same day, Governor Jay Inslee announced he won't seek a third term, another senior state officer likewise said he's out of the race. Insurance Commissioner Mike Kreidler said yesterday he won't run for a seventh term. The 79-year-old Democrat was elected to his sixth term in 2020. Last year, Inslee called for Kreidler's resignation after members of the commissioner's staff disclosed instances of abusive behavior as well as language that was derogatory towards transgender people and people of color. Kreidler chose to fill out his term instead. Wenatchee High School's long-running women's vocal ensemble, the HyTones, are Washington State music champions. The quartet competed at the state solo and ensemble contest in Ellensburg on April 28th and 29th and was named the #1 ensemble in their category. Other local talents placing in the competition were Mariachi Wenatchee from Wenatchee High School, earning first in their category, and Eastmont High School's small woodwinds ensemble, the Biker Gang, placing third. Here's a small sample of the HyTones talent. Shrek the Musical opens tomorrow night at the Numerica Performing Arts Center and runs through May 13th. We'll tell you more about that. And in weather, still unseasonably warm for the next couple of days before cooler and wetter weather move in by the end of the week. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. That and much more still to come tonight. Please stay with us. The Apple Blossom Musical isn't as long-running as the festival itself, but Music Theater of Wenatchee's traditional live show dates back to 1962. This year, it's Shrek, directed by Dave Williams and adapted from the classic kids movie. Shrek opens tomorrow night at the Numerica Performing Arts Center and runs through May 13th. In tonight's features story, NCWLIFE's Dan Kuntz talked with performer Jeff Heminger and costume designer Christy Clare about how the onstage magic gets made.
This is my first time leading a music theater. I've done high school for about 8 or 10 years now. I think actually last year for Mamma Mia was my first time doing a music theater. I just made a couple of costumes. I just helped last year. So this is my first time actually leading as the lead costumer. And yeah, it was definitely overwhelming. I regretted life decisions many times.
Did you volunteer, or did you say it's time for you to step up and be the head person?
No, I was asked by our producer if I would be the lead costumer. At first I said no. She responded, really? And I caved. So I was told the cast would be small. I was misled.
So Jill Sheets, the producer, she basically pleaded with you?
She didn't. She really just was like, hey, you know, I think they usually have a core group of costumers that, you know, do the productions, but I think they all had stuff going on, and so I call myself the B team. They called in the B team to do this. And
is that true?
No. She's fantastic.
And the biggest challenge you had was making the donkey costume for this guy.
I think donkey is a hard one, yeah. I couldn't, you know, I will say Pinnacle's Prep did help. They put his costume together, and I'm just doing the fine tuning on it. But the material that his costume is made out of, faux fur, is just really difficult to work with, and it sheds and makes a big mess. And we had to add a little donkey booty for him, so just trying to get everything
rear end, yeah.
just trying to get everything fit so that he looks good on stage. And
when I first thought about the show, the role I was most interested in was Lord Farquaad. And then as I was thinking about it more, I thought, oh, Shrek would be fun too. And then, oh, Pinocchio is a great role. And Donkey wasn't one I initially had thought of for myself. It's a lot more of a kind of, you know, this manic energy, you know, it's kind of a bigger, you know, more broad kind of part than I've played before. So I initially didn't have it in mind, but then during the audition process, they asked me to read for Donkey a few times, and it was a lot of fun. And then Dave, I think he did a really good job with the casting of who he picked for the different roles, and everyone fits into them.
Shrek is a love story. At the end, of course, we're not going to spoil a great deal of it, but to me, the most compelling love story is how Shrek and your character kind of bond.
Yeah.
As the story progresses, because you can't stand each other at the beginning.
Yeah, well, he can't stand me.
Exactly.
I'm pretty excited to have, like, basically my first friend in the whole world, you know, but he kind of is trying to get rid of me for quite a while before he finally just throws his hands up and says, I guess I'm stuck with this guy. So.
Let's take a look now at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Boy, what a day weather-wise for Tuesday. We jumped up 20 degrees over yesterday, and that made for just a spectacular day all around North Central Washington. This beautiful shot is from our Bear Mountain Sky-Fi Tower camera provided by Localtel, looking down at beautiful Lake Chelan and all of those beautiful blue skies that we enjoyed today. Just a very, very nice day today. Hope you got out and enjoyed some Apple Blossom Festival activities today. And we're not done yet. Today, tomorrow, we're going to get into the mid-80s as well, around 80 on Thursday. But in between Thursday, probably about Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and into Friday, thunderstorms Thursday night, good chance for rain on Friday. And then for the Stamilk Growers Grand Parade for Apple Blossom Saturday, it looks like it's going to be plenty cool with highs only in the mid-60s, and we'll get to that in a second. Today, our first day of 80-degree temperatures, all the way up to 84 degrees for a high today. 1 degree shy of another record here in the Wenatchee area. 85 set back in 2014. Look at the normal, 68 right now. We blew that away this afternoon. 52, that was our morning low, way above where we should be at 45 for this time of year. And our record, 35 degrees, set back in 1997. Sunrise this morning, 5:43, and it sets tonight at 8:14. Taking a look at what we can expect tomorrow, we just talked about it a little bit. It's going to be another unseasonably warm early May day around our viewing area. Lots of 85s on our map tomorrow. It includes Moses Lake, Ephrata, Quincy. We'll see it in Aniat, Chelan about 84. Slightly cooler in Omak at 83 tomorrow. And a beautiful day to head up to Leavenworth. Tomorrow's high temperature, 83 degrees. Taking a look at tonight now, we do expect partly cloudy skies. Areas of low pressure are actually bringing up that warm air into the Pacific Northwest. We will see very mild lows tonight. Can you believe it? Lows of around 60 degrees overnight tonight. For Wednesday, yeah, look at all of the clear skies around the west and the interior part of the country. Unseasonably warm for tomorrow. High temperatures in the mid-80s. We're even talking 80 degrees for the Seattle area tomorrow. For Thursday, mostly cloudy skies. This is where things begin to change a little bit, especially by afternoon. Area of low pressure here is supplying the moisture with all the heat we've been seeing. And here are the thunderstorms, lightning strikes. We have about a 40% chance of it in the afternoon Thursday. High temperatures still around 80 degrees. And then big changes as we get into Class E chassis on Friday. Cloudy, a 50% chance of rain, much cooler too. High temperatures Friday only into the low 60s. And then for this to Milk Growers Grand Parade for Apple Blossom on Saturday, bring your jacket. Partly cloudy skies. We'll see unseasonably cool temperatures. The good news, it looks dry with high temperatures in those lower 60s. And really not too bad for a parade on Saturday. By Sunday to end our weekend, mostly cloudy skies. We will see about a 30% chance of rain. Scattered showers throughout Washington State on Sunday. High pressure though building in behind that. Low 60s for highs on Sunday. And then for Monday, we're going to stay with mostly cloudy skies. Just a slight chance for a shower or two on Monday, about a 20% chance of the wet stuff. Highs on Monday into the low 60s. Take a look now at your 7-day forecast. We talked about it, mild tonight, temperatures near 60 for an overnight low, 85 and mostly sunny for Wednesday. We will see some sun in the morning on Thursday, increasing clouds with some of those thunderstorms possible on Thursday, 80 your high temperature. And then look at that cool down as we get to the end of the week and into the weekend. Rain showers for Friday, a break Saturday, and then back to the wet stuff once again on Sunday and Monday with our high temperatures staying in the low 60s. And that will do it for, and that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Well, the Seattle Kraken are in Dallas to face the Stars in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Seattle had just one day to turn around from their Game 7 playoff win over Colorado to prepare for the second round. But Coach Dave Haxtell says his guys are ready.
Well, both teams are coming off a successful playoff series, so both teams are going to feel good about their game. For us, obviously, it's a little bit quicker turnaround. So, we're going to have to use that to our advantage, right? We don't have the ability to have a day or two of rest, so we've got to be able to flip that switch and mentally feel good about our game and get ready for Game 1 here. It doesn't matter what the turnaround time is. You don't get Game 1 back, so our readiness will be critical, and I believe we will be. We've had the ability to flip the switch. We're in a pretty regular rhythm here. Day of travel today, get as much rest as we can, and then we've just got to, like I said, we've got to get a little information to our team through a couple of quick meetings without giving them too much, and then just get ready to play.
Dallas advanced by beating Minnesota 4-2, and Haxtell says they know the Stars will be a tough opponent.
The two teams know each other well, obviously. They're outstanding. They're one of the deepest teams in the league. You know, you look from top to bottom, that top line of theirs is as good as any in the league, all the way through their decor and goaltending. So, you know, there's a big challenge there in front of us. We know their team pretty well, having played them 3 times down the stretch run. You know, and we'll obviously we have to turn the page really quickly from the Colorado series with the travel day today. Take some key points that we want to make sure that, you know, we're focusing on, and then just go and play our game, and that's the bottom line for us.
Seattle met Dallas 3 times in March, with 2 of the games coming down to overtime. Coach Axtell says it is important that their lineup try to stay away from the power play.
Well, you don't want to give their power play too many opportunities. I mean, they're lethal right now. You know, and they've, you know, obviously they've got some maturity as a group together. They've been good all year, and you know, in the Minnesota series, they were outstanding and a big difference maker in that series. You know, one of the big difference makers for them. So, you know, that's something that we have to be aware of. We got to be intelligent. We got to be disciplined, and still play close to that edge.
A year ago, Seattle was making up a meaningless game against Winnipeg and finishing last in the division. A year later, Kraken are in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and Axtell says it's a credit to the guys who gutted through last season.
There's been a lot of changes, obviously, with our group. A lot of the core group is still remaining, however, and that you know, that group has remained pretty resilient, even through year 1 and all the way through this year. So, you know, that resiliency is a big factor as you get into playoff time and into, you know, some of the heated games that you run into at this time of year.
Seattle and Dallas dropped the puck at America Airlines Arena, 6:30 on ESPN. Well, the Mariners try to even out their 9-game road trip with the first of 3 games tonight in Oakland. So far, Seattle is 2-4 on the 9-game trip. See their record fall to 12-16. The good news is that Oakland is not good. They're 6-23. Bryce Miller is up from AA Arkansas for the Mariners to make his Major League debut tonight against the A's Mason Miller, no relation. First pitch at 6:40. It's on Root Sports Northwest. Well, we're in the home stretch of the prep spring sports schedule in North Central Washington. Here's what's on tap today and what was going on earlier today. Baseball schedule had Eastmont at Sunnyside, also Cascade at Cashmere, Chelan hosting Quincy, Manson at Omak, Waterville Mansfield at Riverside Christian, Tonasket at Oroville, Wenatchee hosting Davis, Moses Lake visiting West Valley. That a battle for first in the Big 9. There were a couple of softball games on Monday with Waterville Mansfield clobbering Cashmere 27-2. Liberty Bell beat Bridgeport 15-3. Earlier today, Wenatchee was on the road at Davis, Chelan hosting Quincy, Cashmere hosting Cascade, Brewster in Okanagan, Tonasket taking on Manson. On the prep tennis schedule earlier today, Wenatchee at Sunnyside, while West Valley was hosting Moses Lake. Eastmont, the home team at Lake Chelan Shores against the Goats. Meanwhile, Ephrata hosting Prosser, while Cashmere was at Cascade. There were a couple 4-0 shutouts in boys soccer on Monday as Grandview blanked Ephrata and Manson topped Omak. Tonasket hosts Okanagan this afternoon. Earlier today, while Bridgeport visited Liberty Bell, Manson hosting Pateros. The 7 o'clock games tonight have Eastmont and West Valley. Wenatchee is hosting Moses Lake. And speaking of, we'll have the NCWLIFE channel crew out at Lebofto Field of the Apple Bowl tonight as Wenatchee celebrates their seniors against the Mavericks. Tune in for the pregame with Sebastian Moraga and Matt Wisen starting at 6:50 on TV as well as our Facebook page. One final note here is I get the opportunity again to host or MC, if you will, the All-Service Club Luncheon coming up tomorrow, part of the Apple Blossom Festival. If you don't have tickets, come on in. We've got Lieutenant Sarah Baba, a graduate of Eastmont High School, who's the Grand Marshal. She's the keynote speaker. Going to be a great event tomorrow. At 11 o'clock, they'll open the doors. The program begins at about noon at the Wenatchee Convention Center. Hope to see you there. That's a look at sports news. Have a great Tuesday.
Next edition of my program, we visit with somebody on stage and not on stage for Shrek the Musical, the Apple Blossom musical put on by Music Theater Wenatchee. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Jeff Heminger. I'm playing the role of Donkey.
And I'm Christy Clare. I am the lead costumer.
Christy and Jeff. Without these two people, the show doesn't happen. Shrek. We'll talk about it on the next edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us and have a great night.